Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. It's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for a new episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and this is the very long overdue fourth part of my Exorcist 5 video series retrospective. I started the Exorcist retrospective series back in December of 2016. I recorded two videos at that time, one talking about the original Exorcist, the sequel, Exorcist II: The Heretic, which I aired as my first video of 2017, and then last March I did the video on my favorite film in the series, which was Exorcist III, and I also spoke about Legion, which was the director's cut of the film, because Scream Factory had put out that special edition Blu-ray that included both cuts of the film. My intention was always to finish up this series early last summer, but there was a lot of things going on last summer. I was looking for a new job because I had a contract at UC Berkeley that was going to end. So I wanted to take my time and, watch both versions of the fourth film in the series, one of which I'll be talking about today. And I just never got around to it. I would do other things would come up, or there'd be something else that caught my interest, and I just kept putting it off and off and off. And then finally, here we are, middle of 2018, and I'm finally getting to this. So today I will be talking about the first cut of The Exorcist IV. They did two versions of this film. Stellan Skarsgård was the only actor to be in both versions of the film. The original version of the film was not supported by Morgan Creek, and they ended up reshooting and rewriting the entire film and bringing on a different director, which is something that usually is not done. There's like some films that have like different cuts and things like that, but there's never been I think it's one of the only situations that I can recall where an entire film was sort of scrapped and redone completely. So the version I'm going to be talking about today is Dominion, which was the original film that was intended for release that was completely scrapped by the studio. So this film was directed by Paul Schrader, and it was written by William Wisher and Caleb Carr. It starred Stellan Skarsgård, and Skarsgård was playing the younger version of Father Merrin, who was played by Max von Sydow in the original film and Exorcist II: The Heretic. He was joined by actors Gabriel Mann and Clara Beller. So the film begins in 1944, and Father Merrin is forced to kill 10 people in this town by Nazis. What that does is it causes him to lose his faith, and he leaves the priesthood to become an archaeologist. The film picks up in Africa, and he's part of this archaeological dig that uncovers this church that was purposely buried to protect this crypt. And the church was built on top to seal it. You also have this young boy who is possessed, and that is like one of the main focal points of the story as well. I had only seen Dominion one time. I think it was upon initial release. The thing about this film is that it's well acted. As I've always been a fan of Stellan Skarsgård, and I think he's a worthy successor to Max von Sydow in playing Father Merrin. This film is kind of forgettable, though. There's really nothing about this film that stands out that makes you want to go back and revisit it. I mean, out of all the Exorcist films, even, in my opinion, Exorcist II, which isn't a perfect film by any means, but at least it was a little more interesting. This was just very by the numbers. I understand that they were trying to go for a very serious tone to this film. Just nothing that really kind of connects the two films outside of Father Merrin being the central character. I think Stellan Skarsgård does a great job in the film, but it's just, like I said, it's a very forgettable film. And there's nothing really truly memorable that stood out to me that would make me want to revisit it. It's a well-shot film, well-acted film, but it's just not that interesting, and it's not worth really revisiting. So it's really not one that I could easily recommend. If I had to give it a grade on my scale, I would give it 1.5 skulls. Yeah, it's not really interesting, and like I said, the only thing that got it as high as it did, which is 1.5 skulls, which is pretty low for me, is the fact that Stellan Skarsgård is very good in the film. It just didn't interest me, and it's a shame that they couldn't have done something more interesting in a prequel to one of the most famous horror films ever made. So that is going to be it, my fellow fiends. Finally doing the 4th video in this 5-part series that started about a year and a half ago. So you guys won't have to wait long for part 5, which will be on Exorcist the Beginning, directed by Rennie Harlan, and again starring Stellan Skarsgård as Father Merrin. It is a complete, a rewrite of Exorcist Dominion. And I'm excited to talk about that one. I hope everyone looks forward to that. I don't know if people are still interested in this series because there's been such a long hiatus, but please, if you guys like what I'm doing, please let me know down in the comments. Hit the bell icon, subscribe to me. I just hit 2,400 subscribers, which is great, so thank you all for subscribing to me and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And also check me out on social media. Links are down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for some great content coming real soon. Part 5 of this series, the final one, will be coming up in the next few days. So thanks so much for watching. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace.